folks, and welcome to this episode of Michael's Backyard Marina. Well, you know, I ain't getting any younger, and I'm lifting all these outboards, and eventually I'm going to throw my back out, and that's not going to be any fun, especially now that I've got this new outboard jacuzzi. That's what I'm going to call it. It's my indoor outboard test station. I'm just going to call it the outboard jacuzzi. We're probably going to stick a name on it right here. Who knows? We're crazy like that. Well, lifting these things in and out of this jacuzzi over and over, you know, 4 horse, 5 horse, 6 horse isn't so bad, but it's still awkward. There's nothing handy to lift on these motors to lift them and set them in and out of a tank. So what I'm going to do is I got a hoist that I'm going to build in this corner so I can actually roll my engine stands over here, run a strap around it, and just electrically pick them things up and set them ever so gently into the jacuzzi. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to show you, I'm going to do my best to do a no weld hoist in this corner. Now, I'm not recommending this is engineered. This is not engineered professionally or unprofessionally in any way. This is just something I found scraps around the yard. So I'm going to take a combination of my scraps. I'm going to take a combination of some store-bought parts, and we're going to assemble this thing and hope, cross your fingers, not as flexible as it used to be, cross your fingers that it works. And then you can take some of this knowledge and possibly apply it to something you're wanting to do. Now, like I said, this is unproven, it's something else. I can't think of the word right now. Might be too many gas fumes, doubtful, because I got this exhaust now. But we're gonna figure out how to assemble something in this corner, minimalistic and no welding. Because not everybody out there has a welder. So I'm trying to come up with something with all the stuff I had laying around here that you wouldn't have to weld it. It's drill, most everybody it's got a hand drill or a drill press. If you don't have a drill press, you can still do what I'm gonna do on the drill press with a hand drill and put something together that will work and function. And this isn't designed to lift cars or anything like that. This is designed to lift 200-pound or less outboards at most. That's all I want to be able to do. I've got several 25 horse and 35 horse outboards that are getting quite heavy to try to put in a tank. Just that 18 horse fast twin I did not too long ago was quite a bit of heft to just get it in the tank. And not to mention, they're just awkward. It'd be different if they had 2 handles. You can just pick it up and throw it in there. But that would still be some weight to lift over and over and over again. So without dragging this out any further than I already have, let's take a look at what my plans are. First piece of the puzzle, and one of probably the most important pieces of the puzzle, is you can't lift it without a winch or a come along or a chain hoist or something like that. I opted to go with my windmill is making power today. You can hear it humming in the background. But an electric engine hoist, or electric hoist, not engine hoist, electric hoist. It's rated at 220 pounds. When you use this little block and tackle piece here and hook the hook onto the other side, it will double it to 440 pounds. It's 120 volts, rated amps, 3.9 amps, 60 hertz, duty cycle, 2.5 minutes on per 7.5 minutes off. So you can see this is not a heavy duty cycle thing. Honestly, for me to lift something up and set it down is going to be less than a minute most likely. Cable length is 12 meters. I don't know what that is in yards. I don't want to convert it for you. But it's like 27 feet, I think, a cable. Maybe even 35. I don't remember. It's plenty for this job. Let's put it that way. Anyway, that's one piece of the puzzle. It's got a remote. It's got an emergency stop. It looks like a brake. So if you pull it up too high, it will kick the hoist off. It has mounts. This looks like, from what I've seen in pictures, it's designed to be mounted. Oh, let me see here, make sure I got you in the picture. It's designed to be mounted on a beam of sorts, and it hangs on a beam. It can slide back and forth on that beam. Well, I don't want that kind of friction on the slide, so I've got a different idea in mind. I think I'm still going to use these brackets, but I'm going to use them a little differently. Let me show you my beam I'm planning on using. Now what you see here is a piece of, you guys, if you've been out in the country, been around some old barn doors, they're usually hanging off of something like this. This has got rollers. This beam was supporting a barn door with this thing spread out. A barn door that was probably weighed well over, I would say, 300 to 400 pounds. It's heavy. It took 3 of us to wrestle it, to get it down and get it on the ground safely. So what I've got here, I've taken some brackets off of the back here that normally would be on the barn door piece or be kind of like a guide for it. But these rollers look like this. So this is all salvage stuff here. And I quite honestly had this piece, these 2 pieces, this here and this piece and the piece you see behind it on the floor over there, galvanized piece on the floor. I had it laying out in my yard, honest to goodness, I swear it's been at least 2 years maybe now. Going on 2 years. And it's finally laid out there long enough and figured out what I'm going to do with it. So what I'm going to do is space these apart just yay far or so. I'm going to cut the bolts off here. I'm going to do a jam nut on both sides. That bracket that was on the hoist, we're going to jam nut in here. And then my hoist can travel back and forth like that with ease. I'll put a stop on the end. You'll see how I'll do that. And we're going to see what kind of hinge I'm going to use on the other end so it can swing a little bit. It doesn't need to swing 360. It's just got to swing about 30 to 40 degrees where I'm using it at, and that's it. And you're probably asking yourself, well, how the heck is that going to support anything swinging back and forth? Well, that's the interesting part. I'm going to put a hinge on this end. Let me see if you can see this. Let me swing you down here. I'm going to put a hinge down on this end, like an old heavy-duty gate hinge type setup. And that's going to be on the end, so this thing can swing back and forth. And then, from a higher point in the building here, I'm going to have another cable. It's not going to be a cable, though. I'm going to use chain, and I'm going to use a turnbuckle to hook something up here that comes down and supports all the way to this end of the beam. And that way it'll be supported, and it can swing, and it should support the weight without any problem at all. The turnbuckle that I'm going to put up here is going to be nice because if this thing isn't sitting perfectly level, I can turn the turnbuckle and I can shorten up the chain between the turnbuckle between the 2 chains that are connecting it, and I can level this thing out so this hoist sits level. It doesn't always roll out to the end or roll back to the wall when I'm done using it. It'll stay put. So with that being said, let's start working on the pieces. I'll start taking you step by step what I'm doing to get it mounted, get it put up on the wall. And I'll show you some more of the hardware. Let's dig out some more hardware right now. If you're like me and go to the hardware store, you can get what I call hardware drunk. You start looking at all the hardware and go, oh my God, I just gotta have this and I gotta have that. So I was trying to piece together in my mind while I'm walking through the hardware store. So what you got here is an old piece that, now this one ain't old, this is new. This is what you normally screw into a post out on a fence row where you got a big old, one of the big old gates. And then this would be your hinge. You put that, this would fasten to your gate. This would be in your post and this would be your hinge. Well, I'm going to do something like this. This is going to screw into a big old beam that I got in the wall. And that's going to be my hinge. And this is going to go on here. And I just got to fasten this onto that piece of beam we were just looking at. That's my bottom hinge. Top hinge gets really simple. I'm keeping it simple, folks. Sometimes I was trying to overkill and overbuild this thing. I was thinking about how to build a steel framework and all that fun stuff. And I thought, I'm getting carried away. And I can do that pretty easily. But this, I'm going to screw into the wall, lag that into the wall, buried it up to the eyelet here. Then, from that point on, I'll be able to, whoops, come on. Oh, it fit at the store. This one a little bit bigger. Boy, it's got a little bit more fatness to it. Let's see if this one's just a little bit different. There we go. They're just a skosh different. But that way I can put this on the wall. Guess what? That becomes an instant swivel. Then, here's my chain. Chains don't stretch. I mean, they're not springy. They're just going to hold there. I'll cut the chain off to the right length. I'll put a turnbuckle. I might not even have to cut the chain, honestly. I can just put the chain here and chain here. But this will be able to turnbuckle. So as I turn this, you know, this has left hand and right hand threads. So when you turn it, this is getting further apart, as you can see. And then when I tighten it up, I can tighten this or loosen this. And if I want to, I can take this all the way apart and put a jam nut here, and I can tighten it down so it doesn't move, but it's just going to be up there static. It's not going to be something that's going to sit there, and this is going to just, due to vibration, going to start unwinding on me. So I'll have a chain on each end, and then I'll have this bolted onto the outboard end of my beam. This can go down, bolt down. I can double jam nut that in place. Plus, it's also going to be a nice roller stop at the end, so that it can't roll off the end. And then I'll put another one of these on the end here, and hook the chain on. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be awesome. And I think that's all the hardware I got. So, to kind of give you an idea where we're at so far on cost, because some people have been talking about it in my videos. It's like, hey, some of these projects you're doing, it'd be nice to know how much money are we getting into. Well, I found this hoist on Amazon for $119. I also found one that looks identical to it at Harbor Freight for $99. Buyer's choice there. All this hardware I bought here at my local hardware store was $54. So $119 plus $54 plus a swing you around. Whoop. Plus the hardware you see here, I paid nothing for. That was free will donation I got from a buddy of mine that was taking the door off of it. I said, I'll take it. Now, I often say I'll take it too many times, and I end up with too much stuff piled up around here, and every now and then I'll make a scrap run. But it's got to lay around here for about a year to year and a half to possibly 2 years before I make that scrap run, just because of this very reason right here. Now, the cool part about this is this cost me nothing. The other cool part is, if you can see over here on the floor, there's another piece that goes from here to clear down to the door. Gosh, that's got to be close to 20 feet long. Well, that's perfect, because boom, I'm going to put it up here on the ceiling, and I'll have me another beam that runs the width of my building. I'm going to hang another hoist on it, so I can pick stuff up in the middle of my shop. Anyway, as I get older, I got to work smarter, not harder, because the back is strong until you break it. So I got to protect myself. What's your greatest asset? What's your greatest asset? Does anybody know what your greatest asset is? It's not a chair. It's not where your assets. It's your ability to work. Think about that for a second. All right. Well, without further ado, I think I need to start taking some measurements and figure out where I'm going to put my zoop. Yeah, we have sound effects. How you like that? Zoop. Zoop. I got to figure out where I want to put this and how I want to mount this. This, I don't know if I want to bolt it to the side of the beam. And I say that because it will interfere with it getting the hoist getting really close to the wall. But in some aspects, it can't really get too close to the wall anyway, because there's this mass here. And if the rollers are here, you know, if I had this thing, I'll say here, it can only get this close to the wall. I'm not going to pick up anything right next to the wall. So that might not be a bad thing. I can just drill holes in the side of my beam, bolt it there, and next thing I know, I got my thing here, my swivel, and I can actually have this swivel toward the inside, so it's closer toward the center line of the beam without trying too hard. So let's figure out some measurements and some heights, and we'll talk you through that piece. Okay, as you might have figured from that previous bit of video, that I couldn't get away without welding, because when I put a hook on the end of this and the chain to it and added the weight to it, this end started to give a little bit. And then I put an eye bolt in there and sandwiched a washer between the eye bolt, the top and bottom, to squish this together. And all it did was pull this backwards on the end here, pull the eye bolt backwards, which started to tear my metal a little bit. So that was not going to work. So I went out to my bone pile and I found this little, like, oh, looks like maybe 1/8 inch stick. By what, 3 inches wide maybe? Well, hell, I got a, hey, 3 inches. Yeah, with 1/8 inch. So I guessed right. A piece of steel, and I drilled a hole back here. So what I want to do back here, where I had this hooked clear out to the end, I'm going to go back here and hook it here. So now I can hook it here and shorten up, change the angle here on my chain coming up versus a lower, leaner angle. It's going to be a steeper angle, which would actually give me more strength angular-wise. Plus, this won't tear out. And then I've skip welded this piece on both sides down the length of it. So now when I'm supported here and my weight runs clear out here, I've got a stronger spine. So this thing doesn't try to do anything funky on me. And it won't be enough weight out here, I'm pretty sure, that it won't buckle this upwards. So that's my plan. That's what I'm going to try next. I didn't show you the failure point of how this failed because I was kind of running it through my head and I forgot to turn the camera back on to show people what went on. So I'm catching you up here. What I'm going to do now is we're going to hang this back up. We're going to hook it into here. We're going to hang the hoist back on it, and we're going to test lift something again. Now, what I test lifted before, I've got, guys might have seen it on some of my videos, I got a brake drum, like a big old semi-trailer brake drum with a heavy steel post and a vise. Come to find out that weighs about 190 pounds. I put my deer wing scale on there and picked it up, and it weighs 190 pounds. So that would represent the heaviest motor I'm going to probably pick up. Most of these motors, even a Tohatsu, from what I understand, a brand new Tohatsu 4-stroke, 50 horse, weighs in at about 195, 205, somewhere in there. So that's a big motor. Most of the motors I'm lifting up in here is going to be a 35 horse or less. So this rig should do the trick. So let's get this hung back up into place. Let's hang the hoist back up, and let's see where we go from here. I think I'm going to go ahead and cross drill on this end, so I can put a bolt across it now. I was going to use the eye bolt down here to be my stop, but now that I don't have that, I'm going to drill a cross hole for like a 1/4 inch bolt to go across there, and that'll hold things together, and it'll be a hard stop so this thing doesn't roll off the end and hit the floor. We don't want that. So with that being said, let's get to drilling this hole and let's get it hanging back up. It looks like my modification works beautifully. Like I said, this vise and base setup weighs 190 pounds. Picks it right up. Looks like my beam stays level, otherwise this thing would try to roll, because it rolls very freely. And, well, stay put. It's trying to swing a little bit, but yeah. That seems to work pretty good. So that should cover about any motor I'm going to pick up. And I did roll it all the way out to the end. And the other cool part is, the slight modification I had to remove the light bulb up here. But as you can see now, get you up here. Oh, let me see here. This thing now misses the light bulb. If it misses once, it'll miss 1,000 times. So we're in good shape there. So that worked out, because I thought I was going to do something different with my light there, but now I get to keep it. And the hoist that we have here is installed and now works. The only thing I need to do now is, I'm not sure what I'm gonna do yet, but I gotta run my wiring. Right now I've just got it running with a drop cord, but I'll probably put me an outlet on the ceiling and run an outlet to it. But so far that seems to be pretty good. I like the way it works. It's smooth. It's actually a nice hoist. But yeah, it's smooth and relatively quiet. And I like this little, by having this block on here, it actually slows the action down a little bit. Because normally this would move up what would seem like a little bit faster possibly, maybe not. But I like it. I think that's gonna work just fine. One last thing I gotta make yet is something to lift the motors with, to put around the motors to pick them up. Let's take a look at what I'm gonna do for that. All right, what I have here is this was some ratchet strap material that I had taken off of some ratchet straps that I didn't need the full length of it. They were being used for specific lengths. So what I think I want to do here is have a situation that I can actually take a loop and underneath the motor come around here like this and maybe create a variety of sizes of these loops. Let's say, for instance, this one's like this. We'll overlap it 2 to 3 inches. Then I can put my lifting strap right on there. The hook for lifting right there. Let's just cut that one off to there and see what we got. Got my handy dandy razor sharp knife. And we'll go ahead and burn this in so it doesn't fray. Just like that. Just give it a little kiss with some heat. Look at that. Oh, should have done this one too. There we go. And then I want to make 2 of them the same length here. Go ahead and burn these ends. There we go. That way, let's see here. It's the extra piece. We'll take this one, I'm gonna go around here like this, around the front like I just had, and we'll have another one that goes around the back. And I'll have 2 loops here, around front and around the back of this, so when I go to lift this up, since this one doesn't have a lifting eye, I've had a lifting eye in here, I just lift by that. But this will give me some nice soft strapping that I can lift up front and back together. So with that, let's go in and sew this up. For all you guys that don't sew out there, shame on you. You need to learn how to sew because you never know what project's going to bring you into an area where you need to sew something together. Now what I'm going to sew this together with is, it's called upholstery thread, nylon upholstery thread. This thread is so strong that if you wrap it around your fingers and try to pull it and break it, it will not break. It will actually cut your fingers before it will break. And I've sewed some 4-inch wide strapping, and I've lifted, roughly 1,000 pounds with my own lifting straps that I sewed up without even stressing the joint at all. And let's go inside and I'll show you how I'm going to sew this up. Alrighty, so what I'm going to do is overlap these, like I said, 2 or 3 inches here. And we'll start off on the end. Let's see here. Like I said, we got this nylon thread. And I'll go down to there. We'll turn 90. And we'll come across this end, all the way down to where I've got it overlapped. Now we'll come back down this way, down the other end. then I'll spin around like this. And I'm going to go kitty corner to this other corner. I'll stop just shy of that other corner. Come across this way. And come back across to the other corner. And I'll go back across this end. Now that's stitch right there, and I'm gonna go backwards here a little bit, back stitch to lock it. And from that point, that's sewed together, and that's strong. That's going nowhere fast. Gotta find my scissors. Now we'll do the second one. And for you guys that realize I do like older stuff, here's the old Singer 1960 single straight stitch sewing machine that works perfectly still, and that's what I have. I have several different older model Singers. I got a few more up here for parts and pieces. I like these old Singer sewing machines. All right, it's time to see if this will work. I hope it does. As you can see here, I got a strap around the front. I'm gonna put this strap around the back. Whoops, underneath stuff. And that should give me a good lifting point. Should be able to clip that right in like that. Nice. Make sure you disconnect the fuel line before you pick it up. Oh, look at that. That is, there's the limit right there. Woo, baby. That is what I call, I measured that. That was on purpose. There's no accidents here. Come on. Yeah, I can easily get some things out of the way here. I can easily gently set things in and out of this tank without nice. You gotta love that. My God, by golly, woohoo. As you can see, those straps weren't strained at all. And the cool part is cheap. If I wanted to, I could do double loops here. I could actually stitch two together and make this double thick, but I'm only lifting 70, 80 pounds, maybe 200 pounds. Each one of these straps would hold me, no problem. I could stand on that loop and it would hold me, and I would trust it, no problem. There we go. We gotta love that. Tested, proven, successful. The only thing I gotta do is finish up some wiring, but I won't bore you guys with that. Well, folks, now you might have just seen I did a quick change on the shirts here, because I don't want to weld in my ballpoint pen. You don't want to weld in one of these shirts. When they get hot, stuff hits them, they melt. You saw me in a cotton t-shirt there. Cotton is great for welding in. But yeah, short sleeves, shorts, not necessarily the greatest thing to weld in, but that's how I roll. Anyway, as you saw, this works. Works like a champ. I'm excited. Hey, I just checked the e-stop. Let's see. E-stop works. All right. That's in my line of work, they call that the oh shit switch. Because by the time you hit that, the proverbial feces has hit the proverbial fan. Anywho, I'm happy with how this turned out. I think another thing I'm going to do on this little test stand is I might mount me a board somewhere over here with the little edges on it. Because invariably I'm going to be working on some engines, doing some testing and tuning, and it'd be nice to have some screwdrivers and a couple of wrenches that are popular to work on different things on here, and we'll go from there. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I had a lot of fun doing it. This thing turned out well. I had a three-day layover between one part of this video and my welding because I went to use my welder and my gas was empty. And I didn't realize I had ran that low. I knew I was low, but I didn't think I was out. But got my tank refilled yesterday, or today, brought it home, hooked it up. As you saw, we did some welding. I'm happy with this. Will this be how it will last long term? We'll see. I might make modifications. This gets me started. This gets me, right now, I don't have to, as you saw, I can take this out of the tank, bring it over, set it right on a stand. I don't have to lift anything except this, and this only weighs like 1.5 pounds. This only weighs about half a pound. Maybe even not even that much. But definitely makes it a lot safer on my back. It's going to be safer on this because, yeah, I lift it, hurt my back, I drop it. You break expensive stuff when you drop outboards. If you break a housing, you break a handle, you break... Some of the stuff you break, you can't buy anymore. So you want to be very careful with some of these older ones because there's some parts that are just obsolete. And if you're lucky, you can find one that somebody else parted out on eBay to get your part replaced. I'm trying to prevent that from ever happening. So, I've got, to kind of recap how much money I have wrapped up in this. I think I said I had about $119 in the hoist. I have about $54 in the hardware. I probably didn't use $10 of my hardware. What else we got in there? Everything else was what I already had and what I already acquired. So really didn't cost me anything but a little time maybe to acquire it at some point in time in history. So relatively inexpensive. So far it works really well. Handles the weight. I just keep I keep looking up at it. I'm just looking at the different things and it all seems to be just hunky-dory. I'm going to be doing something similar to this, not with a swinging one, but over the back side of the shop here. I think I mentioned that earlier in the video. I might do a little excerpt in one of my other videos when I hang that other one up and hang me another hoist at the back of the shop, or the middle of the shop up, and we'll go from there. But I hope you guys learned a little something here. I hope you guys, it might have inspired you to do something similar in your shop. I also got to thinking, one of these would be kind of handy on a cherry picker almost sometimes. Because you know how cherry pickers, you got to sit there and pump, 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 pump. And go up and down and up and down. Well, it might be nice to have one of these hanging from it, an electric hoist of some sort, so you just kind of... Something that came to mind while I was playing around with this one. Will I do it? Want to do it? Hard to say. Hard to say. I could. Definitely, if I had room for a gantry crane in here, I'd put something like this on it, electric hoist for a gantry versus the chain. The chain's nice, but this moves in small enough increments, it's manageable. It doesn't go too fast or too slow. It seems to be about what I'd like to see happen. So I'll actually be making more of these. Like I said, to fit different motors, I can hang them on the wall right over here. So when I'm ready to pick one up, if I got a smaller motor or a bigger motor, I'll just grab a shorter or longer set pair of them. Or it could be I use a combination of a short and a long one, depending on how the motor's shaped, so I can pick it up more squarely. But yeah, so far that works. As you see, we're here. I've actually got more room to go a little shorter, so I can lift higher. Fortunately, most of the motors I work on are short shafts, so this is worst case scenario for length of clearing the tank. The rest of them are going to clear by another 5 inches, so even if the motor is a little taller up here, 5 inches taller, I still got the same clearance, so it works. And if I needed to, I could probably gain another inch or two by changing something up there on the trolley. It's not a do-or-die situation. Guys, get out there and have some fun. Like I said, do something inventive, do something creative, and have some fun while you're doing it. And there's a certain amount of pride when you've completed something, a project or something you're doing yourself. Even get one of these old outboards running that haven't run for a long time, and you get it running, you go out on the lake and you twist that throttle and it takes you across the lake. It's like, yeah, you did that. You caused that to happen because it wouldn't have happened without you. That motor wouldn't have been on a boat going across the lake without you. So there's a little bit of pride there. There's a little bit of fun there for sure. And feeling of accomplishment. That's huge for me. You got to feel like you accomplished something every day. I do have my down days. I do have the days where I couch potato it all day long. Just because, but I'm watching TV, I'm doing stuff, but I'm also in here. I'm out in the shop doing things. I'm thinking things through, getting my next project. Yes, there are some things that I edit out, obviously. Now, a lot of people have been asking, and I've seen some of you leave comments, the 18 horse fast twin video. Everybody's been asking, come on, admit it. You let that thing hit the floor when you pull the gearbox off. It was going. Believe it or not, I caught that thing. I caught it. It didn't hit the floor. Amazingly enough, it didn't hit the floor. I know you might not believe me, but I have no reason to lie to you. If it hit the floor, I could have been doing an old crap video on here's why you got to be careful and don't let things fall because it breaks stuff. No, that one didn't break, didn't hit the floor. But I appreciate all your comments. I appreciate the subscribers. New subscribers, welcome aboard. People that's been subscribed to me from the beginning, thank you for all your patronage and watching the video. And hitting that thumbs up and hitting that notification bell. Keep that notification bell lit, boys, so you get to see, and girls, so you get to see when I drop my next video, so you can be on board with what's going around here at the Backyard Marina. With that being said, you guys, I'm Michael, and I'm, you know, what's the words? I'm out.